So I actually want to address something that I hear a lot about, and that is your busy schedule basically sabotaging you? You know, is it making you sick? And today I thought was the perfect time to address this because I really felt the effects of my busy schedule this week. So really busy, really crazy. And people actually say this to me a lot. They tell me a lot, I don't have time to do this program. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to plan. And I gotta tell you, I don't know a lot of people who are busier than we are in this regard. We are crazy busy people, and I don't have time not to take care of myself. So, you know, God bless you guys who think you are busy and don't have time to take care of yourself, because pretty soon you're not gonna be taking care of anybody if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't make time. And I really felt that this week. So I just noticed that, you know, I practice martial arts, so I'm going to use a couple of acronyms. I felt this fist coming straight at me. And it really irritates me sometimes that my husband, you know, he's just this kind of like mellow guy that, well, mellow might not be the word, but he just goes through life at one pace and he's able to do so much and it doesn't seem to faze him. And that's frustrating for me because I want to be able to think that I am just as tough and can do just as much. But the reality is that with my history, I have to be honest with myself. And if I try to keep that same pace that he keeps, it's like something comes at me full force and just knocks me out. So I can't do that. And I think of it like a fist. So I use the acronym FIST. And so what I want you to think of when you are really busy, or especially when you're traveling a lot like we are, that fist can come knock you out pretty quickly. And for me, what that fist is it's the food you're eating, it's infections, okay, it's sleep and supplements. So, well, supplements are actually the cure. So it's sleep, it's that lack of sleep, and it's stress, and it's sometimes time change. So that's like a big fist. And if you're not paying attention, it can just wipe you out. So what do you do? How do you manage that? How do you get by? Whether it's traveling or busy schedule, what can you do to prevent that? Well, here's what I do. So you hear me say it all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to hound on it until you guys actually get it. If you don't prepare, if you're not, you know, preparing to win, then you're preparing to fail. So if you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail. There's no better way to say that. And in martial arts, so we have this expression that we use. It's chi sao. It means sticky hands. So there's times that you want to hit back, but if you're someone my size, you're not going to go hit someone blow for blow, hit some guy that's 250 pounds. And sometimes that's what travel stress feels like, right? It's a lot bigger than you are. So you're like, okay, I can't go blow for blow with this thing. I can't keep up the same way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use sticky hands and get out of the way. I'm going to just get rid of it, and I'm going to just sticky hand it away from me. So I'm going to call it pause. Okay. So I'm going to use pause to get away from it. And here's what I think of that is. It's prepare. I'm going to say it over and over and over. You've got to prepare. So I'm prepared. If you guys saw my posts this week, you saw that I took my own food. Yes, as busy as I am, and the way that I manage that is I make sure I have a ton of leftovers. Whether you have to freeze it or whatever it is you're doing, use a ton of leftovers, and I take my own food on the plane. You make sure you take a lot of disposable stuff that you don't mind throwing away, because sometimes once they're empty, you'll have to toss that stuff or you don't want to carry it. And that's okay. So I had my own food, and for the first 2 days, that's what I did. And then I made sure I found a grocery store. And when I started to run out of food, I made sure I had protein powder and coconut oil. Got a half-calf coffee, or sometimes I get warm almond milk. Even Starbucks now has warm almond milk. You just get them to warm it up, and you just throw some protein powder and coconut oil in there. But I've always got that planned ahead of time. And I keep those dry foods in my bag, along with a can of wild salmon, and I can toss that into a salad. So that's the P in pause. A is acknowledge. So acknowledge when it's too much for you. My husband had so many fun things planned this week, like all these meetings that I wanted to go to and I planned on going to. And then I felt this big fist coming at me, and I'm like, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick if I do this. So guess what? I had to know when to say no. You've got to be able to know when your adversary is bigger than you are, and you got to get out of the way. So instead, I came up with a new plan, and I just got out of the way. And so I'm not sick today. I feel really good. But yesterday I was like, it's a little too much for me and I just need to back off. And so is it frustrating? Yep, but not nearly as frustrating as being sick. So that's the A, is to acknowledge. The next A, there's two A's, is activity. So I adjust my activity. So I normally want to work out really hard, and I still worked out, but I had to adjust it. So my activity level changed. I actually made part of my workout walking in the rain, believe it or not, to Whole Foods. Got a green drink with a little bit of beets in it for a cleanse. And then I got a whole bunch of groceries, and I made my workout walking, a mile in the rain and walking back, carrying my groceries. That was part of my workout because now I've got healthy food again. And so I'm replenishing and getting all my nourishment back. And then I made part of my activity resting. So that was the adjustment that I made, was to rest, to know when to rest. And then the W in pause is water. Hydrating is one of the best ways for you to combat stress and time change and travel and all of that stuff. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It increases your physical power by 19%, believe it or not. The first S in pause is supplements. So I know that infections are a big risk. I'm on 4 planes total when I'm traveling this much. That's a lot of infections you're exposed to. Doesn't mean you have to get them. It means you need to keep your house clean. So don't eat a bunch of garbage, make sure you're sleeping, and take your supplements to combat them. Keep your house clean so that those germs, it's like the streets, if there were a strike and the trash collectors didn't come by and pick up the trash, there are always rats, but they don't always come out to get the trash unless the trash is there for them to get. Make sense? So that's why you got to take your supplements and make sure you're resting and hydrating and doing all those things to keep your body strong and keep your immunity up. And then the last one is sleep. And sleep can be tricky when you're on the road because you're under a lot of stress. You've got this time change. And so I make sure I have a plan. Besides making sure that I have my sleep mask and my earplugs, I always call ahead to make sure that the rooms are super dark, that they actually have blackout shades and all that stuff. But yes, that's actually on my list of questions that I ask for every hotel. How nice the hotel is matters not one bit to me. It matters if they've got blackout shades and a gym. That's like my big 2 things, or at least a gym nearby. And then I take extra melatonin. So I bring melatonin with me to make sure that I sleep, and I take extra when I'm traveling. So I'm a little groggy when I wake up, so I make sure I wake up a little bit earlier, but I feel really good once I'm awake. And then I get that activity in and extra hydration, and then I'm awake again. So I fight the fist with sticky paws. I hope that makes sense. I hope this was helpful to some of you who are really busy. If you're as busy as I am, you do not have time not to be healthy and take care of yourself, or you won't be taking care of anyone else very shortly. So love you guys.